Okay. Video tu dah.
Tak ada keluar feed?
Nope.
Serius? Oh, ya
Tak ada benda pun keluar tadi. Iklan tak ada, apa tak ada.
Live sekejap
Okay.
Ada dah?
Aku nampak yang tengah pause lagi ni lah.
Into 3 left over crest, long tightens. Good luck.
Kau bagi intro
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the AI Rally Championship wrap-up. We'll be with you in just a moment as we head into the special stages. Gambar sekarang dah ada. Gambar dah ada, cuma
ni kan? Apa? Sekejap just can you explain brief description on what happened on season 3 from round 1. For the meantime, I'm fixing up this video clip.
Alrighty. So anyways, we've had our second in our multi-car championships this week. We started off with the historic rally cars last week, and now we are into the modern monsters segment. And we are currently in our third round, or we've just finished our third round at 3 p.m. this afternoon. We started off with the R2 cars in Poland. Very, very high speed. Very high speed stuff going through there. Then followed by the RGT cars in Monaro, Australia, a real challenging rally to try and keep the cars on the road. Followed by Hawke's Bay, New Zealand, and this is where we'll be having a look at the runs for today, our final round using the Group N rally cars, otherwise known as the NR4 class in current FIA parlance. As you can see there.
Over to Michael. Michael's ready.
Alrighty then, so now we're going to head over on board with Maisel Hafiz. Michael now is going through special stage 1 there. He's been fairly quick. We had a resumption of our usual battle going through the stage. Happy to report that I managed to gain a minute ahead of him, but he's still only just behind me in the standings. But as you can see here, we're in New Zealand. These cars, these Group N cars, generally the easiest of the four-wheel drive cars to drive, or to learn to drive especially, but they can be a little bit tricky at high speeds. As you can see there, Maisel being very nice and smooth through there, just touches the fence. You don't want to touch that fence too much. For those of you who just joined us, we're now on board with Maisel Hafiz, the Toyota Motorsports MSF driver, an MCS driver who's dabbling a little bit into rallying this time around. As you can see, we have on the dashboard the 2 gauges as well as the digital display that ProDrive puts in all their cars nowadays down in the center console where the radio would normally be. So that gives you a good idea of the kind of gears and revs that he's using. These cars all have around about 300 horsepower, but they're very heavy and too much, and they're also the only rally cars in the game, apart from the Group A cars, that have active center differentials. This is because the standard road cars have the active center differentials. Maisel now is driving the Subaru Impreza, the latest Impreza WRX. I believe it's the WRX STI model, but yeah, 300 horsepower, EJ based flat 4 engine, very distinctive sound, and he almost goes off the road. He's managed to save it. He's got the car back on the road. That was a very lucky escape there from Michael rather, and yeah. But I must say, these cars are very fun to drive on these New Zealand roads. You can brake relatively late for the car's weight, but you can definitely tell that in the change of directions it's very almost ponderous compared to some of the other four-wheel drive cars that we have in Dirt Rally 2.0. But in any case, it definitely suits a more smooth driving style. a more point and squirt sort of style of driving there.
Into 3 right long tightens.
See, a very low revving engine
Into 2 left.
for these sort of cars. There's only 2 cars in this class, the Subaru Impreza
50.
STI, WRX STI, and the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10.
Into 3 left.
So Jay Jiven saying there, my child King Sondol Huff is looking for something to Sondol. That will be Jay Jiven there, aka Mr. Gajara,
2 right
and he's
into open.
one of our competitors. So if you guys want to have a chat with the competitors who will be running in this series, do head over to the comment section down below. They'll be more than happy to have a chat with you.
Tightens 1.
And whilst you're down there, do hit like, do share it with your friends if you do like it. And oof, he's gone off the road there. He's gone off the road. He's going to get stuck there. He's going to have to recover the car. That's 8 seconds plus the time he's gone off the road. You have to keep the car on the road here.
Right long tightens.
And we're very much quite far up the side of the hill, so
Into 4 right.
anytime you go off the road here would be
Crest extra long.
pretty much a lot of time lost.
Into 5 right.
See myself there just
Open happy left.
dancing through the stage there. For those of you who are wondering why he's got the nickname of King Sundal, that's because he was we were doing some of our test rallycross sessions
Crest 6
over on our Discord
2 left tightens.
server, and yeah, let's just say his attacking driving style into turn 1 has been quite entertaining for the rest of us, quite intimidating in fact as well. But in any case, myself definitely getting used to this different form of motorsports than what he's normally used to on the Sepang circuit.
Into open happy left.
You can see there he's just trying to be very neat and tidy, manage the understeer turning in, manage the oversteer coming out of the corners.
Long of a crest.
Now, these cars are basically production vehicles, so they only have uprated dampers, a different transmission system allowing for clutchless gear changes, what's commonly known as a dog box or a clutchless gearbox,
6 left of a crest 30.
and
Open
you're allowed to change the front rear differentials, but look, the center differential, that has to be the standard
into 2 right.
the standard computer controlled unit that's homologated for the car. Basically, not a lot of difference between these cars and the standard road cars you see out there on the road compared to the Group A cars, which have quite a lot of things changed, including suspension geometry and active differentials front rear, as well as the R5 cars, which are basically custom built forest weapons.
Into 5 left. Opens of a crest.
So these cars very much
Into don't cut.
cars that were modified from standard going through the stage. They're still very, very quick indeed. These modern day rally
Into 3 right. 30.
rally replicas do make for good rally cars, as you would imagine, going through the stage.
Left. 2 right tightens.
Now the Subaru's little quirk is that it's got a longitudinally mounted engine
Opens.
and a very different center differential system compared to the Evo
Into 3.
GCCD, which can actually control the amount of torque going to the front and rear wheels. Ooh, he's gone up the hill. He's hit the bank and rolled over. That is going to be another 8-second penalty that he would not want. He would not have wanted that. But as you can see, he's starting to get a little bit more confidence, starting to push the car, starting to listen to those pace notes provided by Phil Mills in this game.
Into 2 left.
Now he's definitely come on by leaps and bounds since his first event in the series. He's getting faster and faster as the series goes on, but ooh, just perhaps a
Into 4 right.
little bit still too prone to making mistakes at the current moment.
Long. Tightens. Open happy left.
But I'm sure he'll get the hang of it. In the end. These last 2 weeks have been rather interesting in that
4 left long. Into
all the competitors would have, if they'd finished every single round of the last six rallies that we've done,
Into 2 right.
would have had experience in now front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and four-wheel drive cars. So
Of a double crest.
moving forward, it's an interesting
3 right tightens.
mix of experienced players and newcomers,
2 right.
and also guys who've started off. Ooh, big whack into that fence there. He wouldn't have liked that.
Into 6 left long. Opens
So yeah, moving forwards, we might change it up a little bit with the championship standings, but do remember this evening we'll be going live as well after our Adrenaline Impact Invitational Challenge, V8 Supercars at Lime Rock Park. That's going to be an amazing race to watch, so do stay tuned to Adrenaline Impact for that later on tonight. Then after that we'll be having our voting session, where we'll open up the polls and see what the next championship will have in store. So now we're going diving down in through Teawanga Road, going the opposite direction in this particular stage. Absolutely classic bit of New Zealand driving there. You've got to get the car into the middle of the corner, into the apex. That's where the road is steep, as the roads here are almost banked into the turns, which helps the drivers gain as much speed as they can through the corners. But as they pop out a little bit too far out of the racing line, as you saw there, Maisel just struggling a little bit with the understeer going through the corners there. If you pop the car out of the groove a little bit too much, then the car will definitely fall off the road there, really wide through there. That's because he's come off the camber of the road, and when that happens the car tends to slide off. So he's got to watch that. He's got to definitely develop a very early turn in to try and make sure that you do get into the middle of the corner in the best position possible. And now he's final chicane, and that's 41 seconds down behind the leader. And we'll see what the standings are earlier today, or earlier yesterday in fact. 9 minutes 30, that's a quick time through there. And we'll see the times there. Maisel Tarak, the second car on the road, just behind Pituela. So just a reminder of our round 2 winner, Ahmad Fouad at Fouad 89N in the BMW M2 competition car. The round 2 held in Australia in the Monaro stages, driving the RGT or Rally GT cars, so all rear-wheel drive, high-speed cars. So we see there Fouad ahead of Renmaster, JR Speed, Ajib, Fazil Jamil, Iqbal Suji, KSS Gaming, that's Kelvinder Singh, Wish, Ace Sunikazu, Raids Ghost, Shakir Razaki, Raja Imran GT, and Maisel Hafiz. Meanwhile, we're going to go on board with Faisal Alang, FA44, in Special Stage 2 as soon as that comes up. But there we have it. He is in the Evo 10, so we'll have a good look at you could have a good comparison over the two cars handling. Again, up Ocean Beach, another fairly long stage, 11 kilometers long. A really high-speed attacking stage you'll see here. So for those of you who've just joined us, we're now on board with Faisal Alang in Special Stage 2 driving the Evo 10. In this, our final round of the Modern Monsters category. The Group N rally cars, these modern Group N cars, in the right hands they can be just as quick as the Group A factory rally cars from back in the day. So now we're on board with Faisal Alang as he heads into the special stage there. Very, very tricky and challenging first few splits here. Now if you look to the left hand side of the screen there, you'll see the progress bar. The little red diamond shape is Faisal Alang's progress through the stage. And the white lines denote where the splits are. Ooh, and he's gone off the road there. He's gone for the cut, slid out wide, and luckily he's managed to get the car back on the road again without using any assistance, but that's a very unfortunate incident for him. He picks the car around the bend using the throttle again. Big dive through there. It looks to be quite lucky considering he hasn't got any punctures, although can't quite hear if there's a sound of a rim dragging on the ground, but the car looks to be going very quickly indeed. Now he's going to focus on driving the car in through the lines there, 5.5 seconds behind the leaders. That is not too far away to try and catch back up again. Now with these Group N cars, the main thing is to be accurate. Beautiful little handbrake turnaround there.
Opens 30.
And again, a little bit sideways, but he manages to get the car back
Opens over crest.
into the swing of things.
Into slow. 2 right.
But yeah, a neat, tidy, on the rails type of driving style will really work out well through here.
2 right tightens.
Faisal Alang, one of our MRC Malaysian Rally Championship drivers that have joined us for this Adrenaline Impact series. We have quite a few.
Caution 30. 2 right long tightens. Into 4 left over crest.
Quite a few MRC stars running in the ground around there. Ooh, I just noticed that he was going very sideways through the corner, and it looked like he would have held it.
Into 3 right.
Unfortunately, the bank came up to meet the road, and he had to stop there.
Keep right over crest 30 through.
Now the real challenge through here is,
Crest long into 2 right long opens.
my apologies, the real challenge to go through there is,
Into 4 left.
like I said, to try and keep the car traveling in roughly the same, in roughly the straight line. Try not to give the car too much understeer, and
30.
again, the other important thing is to try and
Into 3
set the
right
car
long
up
tightens.
with very little oversteer or understeer, and try and rotate the car on the brakes and keep the car pretty much straight throughout the corner. But Faisal Alang would know that. He is a very experienced rally driver.
Left.
He's won many a two-wheel drive
Into 3 right long tightens.
MRC title in his time.
Into 6 left over
Very, very quick through the forests here in Malaysia, and is definitely improving day by day through these
6 left.
digital rallies that we've been having here, our e-rallying.
Into 5 left.
Fortunately, he's dropped down to about 8.4 seconds behind the leaders there through Special Stage 2,
Left. And 3 right long opens over crest through gate.
dancing through the Special Stage there,
Into 3 right long tightens.
up over the hills,
Into 4.
and he's gone off. He's gone off. He's missed the braking point. Luckily, he's managed to drive the car back on there. There was a tree there that stopped him just before he fell off the road
5 left
again.
over crest, extra
So that was a very, very lucky escape for
into
Faisal Alang.
right. Into open head.
Diving down through here, these very fast downhill corners. He's got to watch out for the hairpin turn there at the end. He's gone in a little bit
Into
too wide, but he's managed to
1 tightens.
keep the car flowing through there.
Into 6 left over crest.
It really is a case of trying to make sure the car gets rotated at the early phase of the corner.
Into 2 right long.
That will make the
30.
rest of the bend very much easier. Very much easier.
Into 5 left and 3 right long tightens over crest.
Now climbing up through the hills here now, you'll see he's starting to get into some serious vegetation there. He's 13 seconds behind. He won't want to make too many more mistakes.
Right tightens. Into open hairpin left.
Going from bend to bend. Coming now up into the hairpin turn here.
Opens long over crest. 30.
Climbing up the hill. Ooh, just about kept the car on the road there.
Open hairpin left.
You see, as soon as you deviate from the racing line, as soon as you get the car too far away from the center of the corner,
6 left over crest. 30.
the apex of the corner rather, the car tends to want to slide right off the road because of the unique camber situation here in New Zealand,
Into 5 left.
which definitely makes the cars
Into 3 right long.
feel like they're driving through a oval almost.
3 right long.
It's almost like having
Opens over
banking
crest Into 1 left.
on each and every corner. Now the New Zealand Works Department obviously builds these roads with those cambers there just to try and help water to flow away from the roads there. New Zealand has a lot of dirt roads, and a lot of them public roads that you and I can drive on.
Cut. 2 right tightens.
But obviously this feature not only helps with the safety of the roads, making sure that they don't get covered in water, but it does help when you go rallying through them because you can carry a lot more speed through the corner than you normally would.
And 2 right tightens.
So diving through the
Into 1 left. Opens.
stages through here,
Into 3
setting the
right
car up
tightens.
nicely through that. through those bends. He's got to watch himself a little bit through here.
Into one right tightens.
The medium speed corners is where this car tends to suffer a little bit, because these rally cars do tend to be a little bit front heavy. The Evo slightly more so than the Subaru.
Right long, opens 30.
The Subaru tends to turn in a little bit sharper than the Evo, but the Evo tends to have a little bit more traction coming out of the corners. But he's thrown the car off the road again. That was a big hit into the tree. Can he get the car out again? Luckily, he's managed to fall off the road in a place where he can recover again. But that was a huge whack into the bush on the side of the road, and then immediately into the tree. So he wouldn't want to do that too often.
Into four right tightens.
He's got to watch himself going down here, make sure there's
Left long.
no real bad damage on the car.
Opens. Into five right.
Can't tell if the car's got any suspension damage, but
Four left long. Into don't cut four right.
try and head through there. He's lost 29 seconds through that stage there. Meanwhile, we have Ahmad Fouad there in the chat section. Hi Matt. Hi Fouad.
Into six left long.
He's done very well for himself throughout these events. So if you want to go and speak to our current champion, head on down to the comment section below to have a chat with him.
Into four right long.
Big sideways movement coming through there, keeping the car
Tightens over crest.
nice and neat and tidy through the
Left tightens.
corners here.
Right tightens. Into three left.
Big off the road moment there, almost goes off the road there, but he manages to save it.
Tightens three. Opens over crest into five.
Now just a few more corners to go,
Into one
about
right tightens.
half a kilometre to a kilometre to go. He's clipped the fence there,
Left.
and that's put him into a spin. That's very unfortunate indeed.
Left tightens.
Now a nice little J turn there from the rally driver, also a stunt driver. Faisal Alang has
Three right long.
one of the nation's experts on two-wheel driving and J turns and manoeuvres of that
Two right. Extra long. Opens
of that
over
sort.
crest. Into one left tightens.
Meantime, do stick around because we have a couple more drivers up ahead. Next up, we will have indeed Fouad
Open hairpin right.
in special stage 6, so do stick around for that. As
Two right.
Faisal Alang motors the car through the stage here. Now, in the four-wheel drive events we're running this time around, we are running two stages for every service. It's just to give the competitors a chance of
Opens over crest.
a better chance of getting through the entire rally, because these four-wheel drive cars are a little bit tricky to drive. Nobody's got a motion simulator, so it's very hard to judge how much the car's sliding.
Right.
You'll have to sort of do it on visual information. So sometimes the going can get a little bit leery.
Left long.
Now it just understeers a little bit through there. He's got one more corner to go down through here, and he's finished 38.5 seconds behind the leaders. So let's just see where that puts him on the standings as he went through it. That was a time of 9 minutes 28.6 seconds. That would have been faster than Michael. And that puts him in 4th position. Piduela there in special stage 2 still had the early lead in the early runnings. Myself was in 2nd, had a couple of spins, but otherwise quite fast. Toda is right behind me, followed by Faisal Alang and Mr. Gujara, Jagjavan Singh, who you saw down there in the comment section below. Meanwhile, just to have a look at last round. The last round's results. Ahmad Fouad at Fouad89N was the overall winner for round 2 in the BMW M2 competition with a total time of 29 minutes 18.211 seconds. He's now on a 30-point total. Apologies. So yeah, that's our top positions: Fouad89N, followed by Rendon Master, JR Speed, Ajib, Fazli Jamil, Iqbal Suji, KSS Gaming, that's Kelvinder Singh, Wish, Ace, Sunikazu, Raze Goes, Shakirin Razaki, Raja Imran GT, Maisel Hafiz, and
Starts 40. Six.
Amoyo Hariko. There we go. In 14th position, another one of our new runners up there, doing quite well for himself. alongside with Takafuji. That rounds out your top 15 for round 2. Meanwhile, we'll head on board with Fuad as we head into special stage 6. But in any case, we have Ahmad.
Are you feeling not well?
No, there's a bit of a dust issue here. I've just been dusting, so coughing all the way. But yeah, unfortunately.
Tengah load Fuad ni.
Alright.
Just a moment. I'm running 2 upstreams and 2 downstreams, so it's kind of laggy sikit.
Alright.
We are also live on YouTube, so find us at our channels in YouTube, Adrenaline Impact. Please do subscribe us, and we also live broadcast from there.
Right, so we'll be live broadcasting not only from Facebook Live Gaming, but we will also be on YouTube as well. So if you prefer to watch us on that platform, head on over to youtube.com and look up Adrenaline Impact. We'll be happy to see you on either or.
I think this is a bandwidth issue. I think we jump next to, we have, maybe before Fuad, we have Akai Suisei.
Well, that sounds like a good idea. Whilst we get Fuad's run up and running, we will head over to Akai Suisei's runs on the... do you know what stage it's going to be in?
I think it will be on stage 3.
To left.
Stage 3. Alrighty.
Okay, let me put it. Akai Suisei. Akai Suisei 13. Tapi budak
Yeah.
baru kan?
Itulah.
Tapi ni my chair punya. Jap. Sorry. Apalah.
Give us one moment while we look for the right link.
We have lots of links here. So it's organizing in
Starts 40, 6 left, into 3 right
Yes.
long, opens 30.
Okay.
He's on
guess
YouTube,
what?
I think.
Good luck.
Fuad seems okay now. So we
Alright.
proceed with Fuad.
3,
Okay,
2,
so we're back to our usual schedule. We'll have Fuad up next.
into
He's
3
running
right
stage
long,
6.
opens 30.
Alright,
3 right long,
so-
tightens into sudden, turn 2 left.
So let's go on board with Fuad on the final stage of the rally, special stage 6.
Into 3
This is a nice long one, Wairama.
into 3 right.
This basically goes through across the entire map. Some very spectacular stuff there. As you can see, Fuad's got the OBS telemetry up to try and give you guys an idea of the steering, throttle and braking inputs that he's putting into the car there. He's running the car in paddle shift mode. He is driving the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10, dancing the car through the stage there. You can see his hand input on the steering cam and the handbrake off into the distance there. Now I found when I was driving through the stages, there wasn't really too much need for the handbrake apart from a couple of hairpins there. Jagjivan saying Ford should change his name to The Alien. Wow, he's definitely fast enough to be one. Meanwhile, if you've just joined us, we are now currently on board with Fuad 89N in special stage 6. So you can see there he's definitely throwing the car a little bit more into the corners to try and very fast through there. But he's clouted the bank through the rear end there. So a little bit of a challenge there. He has gone green on the first split. He was one of our later runners. So as we dive through the stage here, as you can see, he's turning the car a little bit early with perhaps a little bit more steering input than you would expect, simply because that's the nature with the Evo. You've got to sort of grab it by the scruff of its neck and really point the car into the corner before using the throttle to drive out of it. Person with the Subaru which requires a little bit less steering input.
Left into 5 right small
The Subaru, of course, being a slightly more modern car as well. The Evo 10 has now been out of production, whilst you can still buy a brand new WRX STI from Motor Image down the road here. That's another green split for Fuad. It looks like he's going to try and clean the stage. If you can clean sweep the stage there, that would really top off what's been a very brilliant rally season for Fuad.
To crest, into 6 left long, tightens, 70.
Diving through the stage there.
Into 5 right, very long, 50. 6 left, extra long.
A little bit of lag, but that's okay. He's managed to get through there. I think that lag was probably from the video feed rather than
30.
the
2 right long, tightens.
rather than any of the gaming issues there.
Open hairpin, right long,
But now we're coming up to the hairpin
opens,
turn. As you can see, he's just going to go for the handbrake turn just to kick the rear end of the car around.
into 6 left
The
long.
Evos tend to be
Crest.
driven with a lot more handbrake than some of the other Group N cars we've seen over the years.
Extra long. Opens.
But Ford, they're just using the brakes to try and turn the car around.
Into 4 left long. Opens over crest. Into 6 right.
You can see he's definitely going fairly quickly through
Cut, 6
up
right.
through this
Into 5 left long over crest, narrow.
Warama
Into 4
road.
right. Into 2 left.
Very high speed section through here. He's got to watch out for the odd corner, the odd tight corner.
Flat left over jump, maybe narrow. 50.
You can see very, very fast, very undulating. You've got to make sure the car is perfectly positioned in order to get through the stage as quickly as you can. You want to watch out as well for the rock face that's currently on his left-hand side there. Those banks do not move. They're not like snow banks, so if you do clip them, that generally is bad news. You very rarely get away with it. Coming out to the first of the 2 junctions here. Big sideways moment,
Middle of a narrow
nicely
crest,
held.
80.
He's 25.9 seconds faster than the leaders through here, who are absolutely cruising to victory through this section.
Opens. 70.
Around another junction there.
Into 6 left long, 150.
Now yet another high speed bit of motoring through there, but he's got to watch out up ahead here.
Into 3 right long, tightens.
The corners can be very deceptive. They look to be fast, a lot faster than they actually are, or a lot slower than they actually are, so you have to rely on your pace notes to make sure that you know exactly what's
Into
coming up
5 left,
ahead.
tightens. Into 3 right, tightens.
Diving through
30. 5
now
long,
onto the
tightens
downhill
2.
section of this little hill.
30. Turn 3 right, tightens.
Big sideways turn there, just having to use the handbrake to
50.
try and scrub off some
4 left,
excess speed
extra long, tightens. 150.
and to rotate the car just a little bit more.
Flat left.
With these Group N cars, you do have to be a little bit adaptable. You've got to leave a little bit of
Flat
room
left.
on the road in case the car does start to understeer. Understeering is very bad news indeed for these rally cars.
120.
Beautifully around that junction there, just uses a little bit of the grass verge in the exit, and he's away again.
Into 5 right long, tightens 3.
Diving through,
Into don't cut 2 left, 30 over crest.
as you can see there, one of the issues with the Evo is when the corner tightens up, you have to give it the big flick on the steering wheel to try and get the car to turn in a little bit more.
Crest. 4 right long over crest.
But again, one of the best
5 left.
things about the Evo is its traction out of the corners is absolutely superb.
Keep right over crest.
And the high-speed stability that the car has is also quite confidence-inspiring. You can definitely hear Ford there on full throttle for as long as he can be.
4 left. Into 4 right long.
40 seconds up now. He might get up to the 50-second or even minute range by the end of this stage.
And keep right into 6 left
He
long.
looks to be on pace to clean sweep the entire
6 right,
stage.
all cut.
Just absolutely flying through here.
6 left long. Into 6 right over crest. Extra long.
Some definite forceful driving from Fuad.
To slow crest.
Big
6
bravery
left
through
long,
this section here as
tightens
everything gets narrower and tighter. He's got to watch out for this corner coming up again here.
1 right long.
Big flick coming in through the corner there.
50. 3 right long. Into 5 left long.
As soon as he gets the car pointed down to the next straight, he's got his throttle full flat on the floor, trying to use that
Opens.
rather advanced four-wheel drive system to try and straighten the car up and pull himself away from the corner. Diving through the section here, just about misses the rock face. Really dancing the car around here, 45.3 seconds quicker. Now he's going to pick the right braking point through here.
Into 5 left over crest.
Ooh, he's just clipped the pack there. That sent the car oversteering and then understeering a little bit, but he's managed to save it. He wouldn't have lost too much time there. Now coming down to the bottom section here. Big slide, big hairpin turn through there. That's Ken Blockspec right there.
Into unseen, 1 right tightens.
Now flying. He's pretty much only lifting just at the points where he really absolutely has to, otherwise he's got that throttle flat to the floor.
Turn unseen.
Big sideways coming out through there.
Opens 100.
Now he's coming into the really twisty part at the end of this stage here, so he's got to watch his braking points. He's got to make sure he turns the car through nice and neatly.
Into 3 left long.
Dancing the car through that section there.
Small cut.
Nice little grab of the handbrake, the lever of fever there, helping him out a great deal through that twisty section. Now just a corner or two to go for the finish, and he's got it. 55.02 seconds there as he runs over the Marshall. That is an absolutely fantastic time through the stage there, much quicker than most of the other drivers. You would be happy with that. And we wait for the leaderboard to show up for Fouad. And there we have it. He's 3 minutes and 1 second ahead of the nearest driver. That was Fouad leading through his last few runs through the stage. So that was Ahmad Fouad's runs through the stage. He was leading by a very comfortable margin through there, and he is also round 2's overall winner, again by a fairly decent margin from Renan Master, followed by JR Speed, Ajib, Fazil Jamil, Iqbal Suji and Kelvinda, with Wish, a Sunny Kazoo and Raids Ghost rounding out the top 10. Meanwhile, up next we'll have Sunny Kazoo, so do stick around as we ride on board with him going into the special stage. He'll be taking us through special stage 3 and
only on this channel. No lah, just kidding.
we'll let him go through the service.
Only on this channel, confirm.
Need to repair.
Fastest first.
Repair the car.
Strong penalty shortcut, strong ghosty.
Use soft.
Ha.
Don't forget to
Mahal
use
prak lah jadi dia.
Okay, then next one, rally stage number 3. Okay, it's gonna be interesting.
Oh, race Division 1. Aku tinggalkan 20 saat.
Surface degradation.
Tahu.
Okay, roughly the same.
Kat 20
Okay,
je.
here we go. We start.
Lebih lagi tu. Agak
Betul.
aku boleh. Tak payah cerita
Starts
banyak.
30.
Ready.
4 left tightens. Into 5 right. Into 4 left. Good luck.
So this is our first nighttime stage
Apa dia?
of the series.
Pukul 11 ke?
Very, very challenging stuff here. Let's go on board with Sunny Kazoo.
Fokus dulu.
30. 4 left tightens.
Apa
Into
dia?
5 right.
Pukul
Into
berapa
4
siang?
left.
Oh sekarang 10.42.
Now not only does he need to
Into 6 right over crest.
watch out for
Into 1 left.
the usual hazards in rallying, he'll also not be able to see as well as he would obviously in daytime, and he's got to make sure that he keeps those lights blaring away in the front of the car until the end of the stage. If he has any sort of front end damage, he could damage the lights, which will really hinder his performance through here.
Opens.
This is a midnight stage. It starts 2 minutes past midnight for all the competitors, so
Into 4
a real throwback to the golden age of rallying, when rallying used to run through one day, through the night, and into the next day.
turn 2 left long. Opens tightens 3. Into 3 right tightens.
Sonny, they're being very accurate with the steering.
6 right. Into 1 left tightens.
On this stage, it's very, very rough
6 right.
as well.
Keep left into 1 right long. Opens into flat left. 30. 5 right long.
Track degradation is set at full through the stage here, so it's no walk in the park, but it is a very short stage. Sonny there, 1/10 quicker than the leaders. He'll be pushing like hell to try and get through the stage as quickly as he can.
3 left long tightens. Into 5 right narrow. 2 left tightens. Into 6 right. Into 4 left. Into caution. 5 right long tightens 1.
Being a very technical stage, he's got to watch his braking points, and he can't quite see as far ahead as he would like to, even though he's got some very powerful lights, because the roads here are so undulating. He's just got to listen to the pace notes as much as he can and try and get as much information from the co-driver as he can about what's up ahead.
2 right tightens. Opens into 3 left long.
Nearly off the road there, but he's managed to save it.
Opens of a crest into 1 right tightens. Opens
Now he's at 10th down.
into 3 left. Into 5 right. Into don't cut 4 left. Very long.
He's absolutely throwing the Impreza around
Opens long of a crest through narrow grid.
quite a bit.
And keep left of a crest into 4 right. Into slow 2 left tightens don't cut.
That's his very tricky downhill section there. He's going to have to slow down quite a lot more than he thinks he has to.
Don't cut 1 left long tightens. Keep right of a 30. Don't cut 5 left.
You can see how rough the road has been through here.
Opens into 2 left
Finale,
tightens.
finale.
Into 1 right. Opens of a crest. Into 3 left. And 5 right of a crest. Opens long of a crest. Slow 4 left long. Tightens
And meanwhile, if you just joined us, we're now on board with Sonny Kazoo. We'll go on board with Shakarin Razaki through Special Stage 5
right tightens.
up next, so do stick around.
Left of a 40. 5 right of a crest. Very long tightens.
Thanks for the like.
Absolutely dancing through the stage here.
Tightens bad. Into 4 right long. Opens of a crest. 30. 5 left. Tightens of a crest. Into 5 right. Into 3 left
We have
tightens.
Mr. Zaidi watching the stream. Mr. Zaidi
Ah.
Tajudin
6
from
right of a crest long.
MRC.
Into slow turn unseen. Open heavy left.
After
Don't
mabuk
cut.
dengan
By watching the stream,
Just
you're
6
also
right of a
supporting
crest
us.
and jump.
Abang Zaidi, thank you very much.
Slow 20. Don't cut.
Alright.
Open heavy right.
Terima kasih Abang Zaidi.
Opens.
Thanks for the like.
So yeah,
MRC,
Opens.
these two guys
4 right long.
with
Opens of a crest.
doing these activities dengan
Into
kita
3 left.
involved
Opens of a
dengan
crest.
esports
Jump
jadi
maybe.
is keeping
Over
rallying
finish.
alive.
60.
Meanwhile, we try to find interested parties yang nak
Okay.
yang
Not
boleh
bad.
fund our events.
Survive.
It's a good way lah for
Thank you, How Ho, for the like. Welcome to the
So, okay,
stream.
Sonny Kazoo dah habis.
yes. And he is now in an impressive second position. So we'll hear from him.
So far away.
His volume is quite low.
Ah,
Too fast, too fast.
We pause a minute
Alrighty.
Quick break.
Still many people haven't do yet.
Alamak.
okay, we'll take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more action coming up ahead. That's just a reminder of the calendar. We were in the R2 cars, front-wheel drive cars in Leszna County, Poland. Finally, I had a Polish friend tell me how to pronounce that.
How do you pronounce it?
Leszna.
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 Yeah. Apparently they can't spell either. according to him. So, and the second round was in the rear-wheel drive GT cars through Monaro, Australia, before running the Group N cars through Hawke's Bay, New Zealand. So we had a rally in two-wheel with the front-wheel drive cars, the rear-wheel drive cars, and the four-wheel drive cars. So absolutely the gamut of modern rallying to match the gamut of classic rallying that we had in the previous event. But do let us know what you want to see up next in the comment section below, and do have a chat with some of our virtual rallying stars and our real rallying stars down in the comment section below. I'm sure they'll absolutely appreciate it. Meanwhile, we're in Teawanga Sprint Forward in the Evo 10. I believe this is Shakirin Razaki. Yes, through a special stage 5 now. Teawanga Sprint, one of those stages that I've used quite often for testing. Very, very quick stage. It is a lot of fun. Very, very tight, twisty and technical, almost like a Malaysian rally stage here.
One right, very long, opens 30.
Meanwhile, we go on board in the Evo 10 with Shakirin Razaki, known to his friends as Kang, and another one of our Malaysian Rally Championship stars, competing in the virtual rallying space right now. Now heading into the stage there.
One left tightens.
We're heading through. Now there's a little bit of water on the stage. It's not quite raining, but a little bit damp, so he's got to watch out for the braking zones. Luckily in gravel rallying, not so critical to have the right tyres, as gravel tyres do work on both dry gravel and wet. But you do have to just keep in mind that you've got to get the car pointing a little bit earlier, be a little bit more ginger through the throttle. Looks like Shakirin there using all of his experience in real life rallying to try and get the car through the stage there. As you can see, absolutely flowing and spectacular going through there. Dancing the car on the pedals as you will, as you can hear the throttle inputs. Never quite going full throttle through here, but that's quite understandable simply because the car's sliding around so much. It's basically gone from being gravelly to being a little bit muddy. As you can see visually on the road there how wet it can get.
Open hairpin right.
If you just joined us, we're on board with Shakirin Razaki through Special Stage 5, right here on round 3 of the Modern Monsters Championship, our third season of the Adrenaline Impact Rally Series.
3 right, into 3 left.
Rather, our third series of the season, if you will.
Opens.
As we head off through the stage there, he's just a little bit behind on the first split. Can he make up some time through the second split? Coming up ahead. Now he's got to watch out for those don't cut calls, because if he gets a wheel off the road there, he'd be straight off into the bottom of the hill, and he'll have to take a penalty to try and get the car back out again.
3 left, don't cut through narrow grid. Opens over crest. Into 6 right.
Throws the car through the corner there. He's 9 seconds behind the leaders there, still doing very well indeed to try and keep up with the front runners. You've got to keep your concentration full on 100% of the time through this rather short 5-kilometer stage, or 6-kilometer stage rather. There's barely any space to breathe. You can see that absolutely lush tropical vegetation on the side of the road here, Hawke's Bay, way on the warmer side of New Zealand. Absolutely stunning terrain through here. Just got to watch out for these junctions there. They can definitely trick you into thinking the corner is a lot faster than it actually is. He's got to listen to the co-driver's calls absolutely 100%.
6 right and 6 left. Into 2 right.
He's now 13.4 seconds behind.
Into 2 left tightens.
Now he's really dropped off the pace a little bit, just perhaps trying to save the car for the final stage, which is a very long one, which we saw Ford do previously.
Into 5 right long, tightens 3. Into 5 left, don't cut, and keep right over 30. 6 left over crest long.
He's almost off the road there, but he managed just to keep the car
1 right.
still riding on the road.
Don't cut 3 left.
And dancing the car through the stage here.
20.
just about clipped the exit of the corner there. That would slow him down quite a bit through there. Now he's got to get his focus back. He's made a couple of big mistakes there. He's got another couple of corners left. He's got to nail those perfectly now.
70 to stop.
Just a little bit of understeer there, but he's managed to get the car through the stage. 19.7 seconds behind the leaders as we now head off into our final runner. Do stick around because we have one more special stage from JR Speed in the final stage of the rally and indeed the championship. Meanwhile, securing there in 6th position. So that was our championship, Modern Monsters Season 3. First through Leszno County in Poland with the R2 cars, followed by Monaro in Australia with the Rally GT cars, the rear-wheel drive cars there, and the Hawke's Bay stages in New Zealand in the Group N/NR4 cars. So that's the rounds that we've been watching so far, and that'll be the final round of the championship, of the season rather, with JR Speed, Jusri Rusli driving. It's been a fairly entertaining run through 3 very different rallies, 3 very different types of car. A real challenge for all the competitors going through here. We've had our first wet gravel stages. We've also had our first night stage here in Hawke's Bay, New Zealand. Nice short little number in Special Stage 3, which is quite challenging for quite a few of the drivers to get through. In the meantime, we'll be heading over there anytime soon. Meanwhile, we'd just like to thank our sponsors. We're supported proudly by Interformula, Motorsports R&D Department, C-Zone Premium, computer resales and retailers, as well as I believe we have Todak Motorsports lending us a special hand as well. Do head over to their Facebook, to Todak's Facebook page to see some of the products that they are running with. So now we go on board with JR Speed, Jusri Rusli. He's managed to find a nice fetching yellow paint job for his car, and he'll be heading into the stage now. So as you can see here, dancing through the stage here, very, very fast, challenging start to the stage. Wairama, and it's very, very fast indeed. There's a few who've just joined us. We're now currently on board JR Speed, Special Stage 6, JR Speed, Jusri Rusli, another one of our Malaysian Rally Championship stars competing here in the virtual series. Absolutely stunning stuff going through the stage there. Now he's coming into a little tight twisty section here. He's got to make sure he's got that dancing through corners nicely. See, absolute commitment going through here there. You jump and immediately into the braking zone there, so one of the best bits of Special Stage I've seen in quite a while. Back and forth on the
top runners all choose
extra long Titans.
Well, I believe it's because it's got better traction coming out of the corners and quite very good braking going into them. So even though the car does have a propensity to sometimes understeer a little bit, but if you know, if you use the correct driving style, you can virtually eliminate the understeer and just smash the throttle going out of the corners, which is quite a lot of fun. Whereas with the Impreza, you almost have to drive it a little bit more like a rear drive car. This feels more like a front wheel drive car, even though in reality they tend to put the power down in the same way. So I've got a feeling that because the cars feel a lot more stable at high speed and have a lot more traction coming out of the corners, that's probably why everyone sort of really liked the Evo 10. And also perhaps because in Malaysia we've had, until very recently, a lot of Lancer Evos in competition, and Mitsubishi is,
6 right.
Mitsubishi have the record, I believe, for the most amount of Malaysian Rally Championship
6 left long, tightens.
victories
70.
and championships
Keep left.
won.
Into 5 right.
But it is a slightly more demanding car to drive than the Impreza. The Impreza, you can drive it with a more conventional driving style, whereas with the Evo, you've got to know a little bit about braking into the corner, like you see there, using the brakes to turn the car. You see JR Speed there just attempting to try and get the car turned in here. As you see in the hairpin here, he uses a combination of the brakes and the handbrake to try and get the car turned around. The Evo's platform basically allows for a little bit more of an aggressive driving style, so it's a little bit harder to get started with, but in the end it can be very, very rewarding. Of course, the Impreza, on the other hand, is a lot more natural, a lot more flowing. You can drive the car conventionally, come up to the corner, brake, turn in, use the throttle to control the oversteer.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Let's just wait.
Yeah.
Okay. We see lots of Evos. I think in real life, Jusri has one Evo 10.
Right.
Or
70.
maybe an Inspira with an Evo
Cut
10.
6 right. Into
I'm
5
not
left
very
long of a
sure.
crest narrow.
Or
Into 4 right.
Yeah, I believe there's a Lancer or an Inspira or something like that for MSF, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Flat left of a jump.
So yeah,
Narrow.
but I guess that's probably,
Yellow, yeah.
6 left of a bump.
Yeah.
Into cut. 6
Yeah.
right. Into 6 left
and
long.
and also I will have to say the other reason possibly that all the top runners are using the Evo 10 is because it does look an awful lot like a Proton Inspira.
Slow 30. Turn
So I guess the memes just,
250.
yeah. So I guess the memes just write themselves. It is a little bit like back in the old days when the Evo 3s were used by both Mitsubishi and Proton in competition. And yeah, so what we see there, JR Speed going a 10th up. He's definitely going quite quickly through the stage here right now. You can see an absolutely throws the car into the junction to try and get the car turned around. I guess it really depends on driver preference. Malaysian drivers are a lot more used to stages that have a lot more junctions and a lot more need for like the handbrake and Scandinavian flicks to try and turn the car in. Whereas here in New Zealand, there's probably a lot more drivers who are prefer the Subaru simply because it's a lot smoother through the corners. It enjoys this sort of going a little bit more. And for Evo 10 got more horsepower and also lighter in this game. It's also lighter in real life because of the homologated weights. I do happen to remember that from the time when I was still in rallying as a engineer and a mechanic. The downside, of course, is the Evo 10 doesn't quite have as much torque, reportedly, as the latest Subarus. So, in the end, they are actually quite closely matched, but definitely the Evos tend to have a bit more of an affinity for drivers who come from places where the roads get a little bit twistier and more technical, and the faster flowing places tend to like the Subarus a bit more. But again, it all comes down to preference, and in a lot of cases it comes down to who's willing to pay for the car.
Right long of a crest, 30, right left, extra long of a crest, 50, keep right of a crest, 140, slow, 5 left tightens, into 3 right long.
Yeah.
Into don't cut, 4 left, into 4 right long, tightens, 30.
Yeah, the base 4B
5 left, and keep right into 6 left long.
And I mean, also the nice thing about the Evo is that to the average mechanic it's a lot easier to work on, because the engine is conventional and the gearbox as well is conventional. It's a little bit heavier because it's got the output shaft at the rear, but otherwise it's very, very similar to, say, a Proton or even a Hyundai or something like that. Whereas with the Impreza you have two cylinder heads instead of one. Yeah, a longitudinal gearbox, and it's definitely a slightly more strange thing to work on. Although we do have quite a few Subaru experts in this country. I believe SSG have done quite a good job with the One Motorsport boys and their Imprezas. They've actually managed to win the championship despite using only a GC8 Impreza. So it is a case of driver preference as well as with the way the cars are prepared as well. Now it looks like JR Speed's lead is being cut down quite dramatically through the stage. He's only 0.9 seconds ahead now. He's got two red splits. He's got to push hard now through the final split. He's absolutely throwing the car through the corners here. He's coming up to this downhill hairpin. He's lost a bit of time there with the back end of the car sliding off the road. I can say from experience you don't really want to slide the cars too much because the rear end of this car is a lot further away than you think, and you do tend to clout the bank a little bit sometimes if you're not careful. Now just a few more corners to go. As you can see, Jusri there just having to take 2 stabs of the brake pedal to try and get the car through. The tyres would be fairly worn through these final few bits. Now just a couple more corners to go. Absolutely throwing the car into the curves. Again, trying to get the car to hook up with the apex. Now going through the warning boards, we have only 100 meters or so and we are done with the round. 1.0 seconds faster than Fouad, but we'll have a quick look at the standings as they flash up for JR Speed. We'll wait there for a second, and he is in second position with only 8.1 seconds behind Fouad. 89, and those two drivers way in the lead with Chocolate third, Arike in fourth, Lucky Norizmi, and the rest of them. So that is very, very impressive indeed from JR Speed to try and get as close as he can to them.
Yeah, the results for the round ended few hours ago. So
yep,
the results of round 3.
So these are the round three results, which ended at 3 p.m. today. Fouad has now been confirmed as the winner for, I think, the second or the third time round now.
he tap out the round already, I think.
Yeah, I think he's won 3
for the season 3. He got. I
think he's won every. Oh, that's a hat trick there from Fouad, which basically guarantees him the title, followed by JR Speed in second position, only 8.1 seconds behind, with a Rennmeister there, third, Wish in fourth position, Iqbal Suji 77 in fifth place, and the first of the Impreza drivers, Arike 7, followed by Lucky, the second Subaru runner, followed in eighth by Raids Ghost and Shakira Nozaki, and in 10th position, Ace Sonikazu, followed by Akai Suise, Amoyo Hariko, Dalion Shafiq, Max Palmer, that's myself, the Sigaraga, Sean Marley, one of our newcomers, doing absolutely fantastic job in 16th position, followed by Maisel Hafiz. For once, we're not next to each other on the scoreboard. We finally have more than one driver between us. Dizal A44, followed by Piduela, Mr. Gajara, SM Hobbies, Drift Sage, Iski 78, and Dini Nazmi rounding out our 24 runners through there.
I heard you had something new for this round that helped your positioning.
Yes. Basically, I've been using a keyboard for most of this time, which is very, very challenging, especially when you're trying to compete with some of the guys with the steering wheels and all the rest of it. But it basically meant I had full throttle or no throttle. So what I've had here, and if you guys want to join in, I would heavily recommend this. This is what they call an OEM spec Xbox 360 compatible controller, which has triggers that can be used to vary the power, and obviously it's also got analog controls for the steering wheel. So that helped me quite a bit. I've had a little bit more control than none. So if you guys do want to join us, we'll have another championship next week. But do try and pick yourself up a Xbox 360 or an Xbox One or a DS4 controller, even if you're on PC. That's a very good way to get into this fairly cheaply, and you'll be able to control the car quite well with it, I find.
Okay, season 3 winner, we have Fuad again. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
And
Fuad
his
from
points
Air Speed.
was, I think, 30 points gap. 20
Yeah.
plus, I think.
Yeah, so congratulations, season 3 overall winner Ahmad Fuad. Absolutely deserved it. That was 3 wins in a row with 90 points. He's managed to get maximum points throughout the season. This is something that we only see from the likes of Katsu Taguchi in real life. But yeah, I believe our director here, Karol Alang, has a special announcement to make.
Okay, he since he's the winner for season 3, yeah, our sponsor T-Zone
sponsor,
has
yeah.
something a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I mess up? Yeah.
No.
Okay, here you go.
There we go.
Cover your
So
face.
basically, for our Malaysian competitors who are competing in this series and in a few other places to be announced, but for season 3, Modern Monsters C-Zone, the premium retailers have offered a Gaming Freak GH R910 gaming headset for the championship winner Ahmad Fuad. He is our champion for this series, so he gets a fantastic new gaming headset to use as he wishes. So do enjoy that, and we will hopefully be able to secure another prize for next week's running.
Okay, so other than that, okay, there's one more thing I want to share.
We do have the Adrenaline Impact Invitational
Yeah.
race.
Pulling up the poster. Just a minute.
He's got to flick through the file cabinet there and try and find it.
Find it.
So congratulations to Ahmad Fuad for that, and do enjoy the prize. In the meanwhile, we have the V8 Supercar Challenge in Lime Rock Park. That'll be later on tonight. 2,200 hours free practice and 2,300 hours qualifying and race. That's 11 o'clock. We'll be going live during that period. We'll be having a live broadcast on the Adrenaline Impact Facebook page. Are we going to do one on YouTube as well?
Yeah, we're trying to get as much content on YouTube too, since we're building the audience there. So might as well, you guys, please visit our channel there. It's Adrenaline Impact, and please subscribe. And there's tons of videos there from our past work, and real motorsports videos, real rallying videos, and yeah, you can enjoy a bit of time there.
Yeah. So in the meantime, we just have the V8 Supercars Challenge. This is one of our Adrenaline Impact iRacing Invitational races. We have quite a few new partners there. Simology, Pico Media, Sim Racing Enthusiasts, Todak Motorsports, Interformula, and C-Zone. So we're going to go live just after 11 o'clock this evening. And do join us for what's going to be a fantastic run through the classic layout of Lime Rock Park. Very high speed, very short, sharp, and very attacking sort of track. We have 2 cars for the competitors to choose from: the FG Ford Falcon and the Holden Commodore. 2 absolutely iconic cars, the last of a breed of race cars, where we no longer have Australian-built Fords or Australian-built Holdens. These are the last 2 Aussie-built road cars turned into their racing car forms. And it's going to be absolutely spectacular racing for the guys in iRacing. So do join us for that at 11 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah, no, at 10, the server starts at 10, and we'll be broadcasting a bit later than that, or maybe 10:30ish. And the qualifying starts at 11 for 15 minutes, and the race starts at 11:17, something like that. And for 45 minutes, the race will run for 45 minutes with 2 cars in a single category, And there's a special prize also from C-Zone for the winner of tonight's race.
So we do want to thank once again to C-Zone for sponsoring the prize. Very grateful for that. Also, just another special thanks to Interformula and Todat Motorsports, along with Sim Racing Enthusiasts, Pico Media, and Simology for supporting us for the Adrenaline Impact iRacing Invitational Race. So, just once more, I guess it'll be time to wrap up now.
Yeah. After the race, we'll be we'll catch some breath. Maybe we'll prepare for next week's season. I think we haven't decided anything yet, and stay tuned after right after the live stream of the V8 Supercars. We might get into a small announcement on when we are going to discuss we usually do. It's a democratic way of doing.
It's a guided democracy, as the Singaporeans call it. We try and give bad ideas to the competitors, and the competitors vote on which bad ideas we should go ahead with. We try and keep things very challenging, but we won't be too cruel, I think, this time round. Do leave us some suggestions. We're thinking of, are we going to run another multi-class championship, or are we going to stick to one car this time? So do let us know. For the competitors, you can let us know in the WhatsApp group, and for the rest of you, you can go ahead and comment on our videos, and do let us know what you guys like to see in the future for our Dirt Rally 2.0 Championship.
I forgot to load the chat box. Let me see what do we have here. They've been chatting. Wow, first time dapat hadiah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Group B rear wheel drive.
Okay, next.
Hello.
We have only 2 minutes left. Any feedback, please leave it on the comments.
All right, leave it on the comments. We'll try and look through it, and if any of you guys are on the WhatsApp group or even the Discord group, do leave us a comment on those avenues as well. But for now, all that remains for me is to congratulate Ahmad Fuad there for his fantastic win in the championship. Say thank you to our director, Karl Alang. My name's been Matthew Palmer, and we will see you later on this evening for the race. Ta-ra!